Hello, beautiful souls. Samantha here. Da, 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 da. I just wanted to share with you my weekend and bring forth some messages that I feel many people can resonate with. Maybe all of them, maybe some of them. But this past Sunday, the 21st of May, 2023, I did my first in-person solo workshop called the JoyCode at Circles of Wisdom in Methuen. I've done other workshops. I've held space with a couple other practitioners, done, energy healing circles, and I do coaching, one-to-one coaching. Me and Maria are going to start going into group coaching, and I have my master's in clinical education where I had to speak in front of groups giving the class that I made, right? So I've had all these things prepare me to do a one-on-one in-person workshop, but still you get the nerves, right? You're like, am I worth it? Will people sign up? I literally just kept getting this push from Spirit. You have to do workshops. So at the end of March or mid-March, I'm walking around in nature and I'm like, all right, Spirit, what do you want me to do my first workshop on? And I heard the word JoyCode. I said, okay. Did not know what it was, didn't know what it meant. I just knew joy. And I was like, okay. So then I proposed the idea to Circles, and they were like, all right, you just have to have a write-up about the class. And I'm like, oh, okay, because I didn't even know what I was going to be doing. So I just asked Spirit for a write-up, and it was all about, shifting people's fears into the energy of joy. And I knew I needed to incorporate different learning styles so people wouldn't get bored and overwhelmed, because I never learned like everyone else. So through my master's degree, I did learn how to devise a course around compassion fatigue where it had different ways to learn, right? Different ways to connect. So I was like, all right, gung-ho. They gave me the date. I was like, okay. So I knew it was go time, right? And I really did not think about it. I released expectation of how many people would sign up. I did have an idea it would be 8, and there was. But I released my attachment to the outcome of the day, because I knew that I was being guided to do it. It felt like it's something that needed to be done because it came through so clear when I asked it that I was like, why stress? Why stress my mind about it? So it wasn't until, when I was away on vacation a week prior when I came home, I kept having these dreams of me teaching JoyCode, and I was like, wow, this is cool. I felt like it already happened. So every time I went to sit down to write out, just papers for people to learn from and read from, resources, I just kept hitting this kind of wall. So I was like, you know what? I'll know when it's the right time. So literally Thursday before, I sat down and I just wrote out what fear was, and on the page joy is, different frequencies. It literally just flowed. It was no pressure. I didn't have any anxiety. I was like, this is weird. This is too easy, right? And then Friday, I got a reading done, which messed me all up. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, wait, no, this is supposed to be. It's okay. So then Saturday, I just added little things, but I made sure I kept it simple, because no one likes a complicated class that makes you think, right? No. So Spirit told me that while I was doing this is my intro. This class is something that will then become a series, and eventually I'll be getting these actual geometrical shapes, these codes, where I'll teach people how to multi-dimensionally or quantum jump, leap, shift into their other realities to release these fears, to bring in the energy of joy, love, that frequency, that higher frequency, that 540, versus the lower frequencies. And I was like, cool. So I had to calm myself that was excited to like share all this, because I was like, wait, I got 4 hours, right? Like I can't overwhelm people. So I asked like what meditations do I need to do, guiding me to how, like what to do, and I was like, this is cool, all right. Now, of course you wake up and you have the nerves, but I didn't. I did, but they were a weird nerve. It was this curious excitement nerves rather than this fear of like, oh my god. It was like, wait, this is meant to be. Like I'm doing it. Like I'm doing it, right? And I was like, I've walked into so many patients' rooms so lost, and I did it. And I was like, I can do this. I'm good. I walked into a patient's room once. The girl was 26 or so, I think, dying. Never took care of her. All the other nurses on the floor have, and about 15 of her family members were in there. Talk about nerves, okay? If I can handle that, I can do this. That's what I was thinking. And as soon as I was thinking that, as I was driving to Circles, I'm literally passing the exit of where I used to get off to go to the hospital I worked at. So that was very nostalgic. And then I'm thinking, wow, 4 years ago, before the pandemic, is when I started taking classes at Circles. And now I'm driving past the place I thought I would always work at to now run a workshop at a place that I started workshops at. That, like, this is just wild. And it brought in a lot of, like, really cool emotions for me. Because anything's possible, right? Because 4 years ago, I wouldn't think that I'd be teaching a class at Circles 4 years later, right? Like, no. Then I think of the date, and it was the same date I actually started working at the hospital. 8 years prior. I mean, whoa. Talk about times. So, then I get to Circles. I'm in the room of the first workshop that I learned shamanism, like intro to shamanism or whatever. I was in that room, and now I'm teaching in that room. I'm like, this is so cool. So I had all these like fun, excited, giddy energy. I made everyone little packets, got them all little gifts, whatever. But the whole day went so beautifully, and it literally just felt natural. And so the reason why I'm kind of bringing this up, one, to share, because like our world can shift to a whole other potential with just one mindset change, with just one shift. When we just follow what makes us feel good, our whole trajectory can change. And it's like, wow, look at how far I've come. Look at the different things I'm doing that I didn't think I'd be doing then, but I am so much happier now, right? Like, pretty badass. So then, the night before, I'm putting papers together, because I had people draw and stuff, and what fell out was a Pooh Bear paper. And I was like, oh, that's cute. Pooh Bear is super safe. Everyone likes Pooh Bear. I'll bring Pooh Bear tomorrow. And it was like, Universe was like, no, she's not getting it. Because I asked Spirit, who are my JoyCode guides? Like, who are my guides for JoyCode if I'm teaching people to connect with their guides? Who are mine? And I immediately heard dragons. And I was like, okay, cool. And then when that paper fell out, the Pooh Bear one, I was like, I should color it in. So I started to color it in. I looked down at the date. The date on there was 12/13/20. I remember I printed that off at work, and that day I made a collage of all the Pooh Bear characters for Sandy, my fiance's mom. She loved Pooh Bear. On that same day, I finished it in the same day. I started crying when I saw the date because she died 12/13/22. Exactly 2 years later. And it was like this immense amount of emotion came over, and I saw her face, and I was like, oh my god. And she's like, I'm one of your JoyCode guides too. And I'm like, because she lived in a lot of fear and worry. She worried about everybody else, and she put herself aside. She didn't know how to feel joy. Her joy was based on other people's experiences. And so I was like, well, that makes sense. So she's there to help me with all ages of people, all walks of life, to know like joy is possible. And that fear does kill you. Fear, in a sense, it does. It like kills your spirit, right? Like it makes you dis-eased. And I was like, wow, like that's potent. So I had her on my little altar and I shared that story with everybody and they were like, oh, people had goosebumps. I shared a lot of personal stories to make people relate. And people came up and like shared stories with me that from readings that I did with them that resonated and helped change them and shift them in such beautiful ways because they used the tools that they received in the reading and like literally healed themselves in wild, beautiful ways. And I was like, wow, because I never get validation from my readings, I just give them. So it was really nice to receive the validation when I didn't need it, but yet at the same time I did, because it just gave me more calm that I am in alignment with exactly what I'm teaching for all, and that when you do use the tools that's given, it works. Like it works. Because I've done it for myself, right? But people don't know until they try it, and then they know. It's wild. And it was just really beautiful, because then I could see the shifts in people who were a little hesitant at first, but excited to learn. They were there because all of them were there because they knew they needed more joy in their life. And it was just really humbling to witness, because I see my coaching clients, them shift. Like I see it, right? And I'm working one-to-one. They can feel it. I can reassure them that they're shifting. So this one, I can see the people that are wide open right away, then kind of close down a little because they've seen some of their fears. And then they open back up, or they stay closed and protect themselves. And so I did give people a paper to like write, like feedback. But it was like as the class was going, I was getting my feedback on what else to add to the class to shift it, adding more time, doing it like a 2-day thing. Because after we did the fear exercise, I could feel the energy in the room shift. We were still held in a beautiful space, but I could feel everyone, ooh, that was intense, right? But healing is intense, guys. It's not, in order to reach that energy of joy, you need to be willing to go into those quote-unquote dark places to know that you are the light, that you are a spirit in a human body. You are experiencing a human experience, not a spiritual experience. And to know that your fears hold a lot of wisdom and light for you. And in order to bring more of that light quotient, that happy higher frequency, you need to be able to face your fears, the conscious ones, unconscious or subconscious ones, and befriend them. And what I mean by fears is an umbrella term for stress, worry, shame, guilt, all of that. Like, fear is a frequency that's lower, much, much lower than the heart and joy frequency, the enlightenment frequency, that Buddha energy, right? If the whole world's vibing in this fear frequency, and only some of us have this light frequency, this love frequency, those some with this light frequencies do have the ability, because the light frequency is so much more empowering, to shift these lower frequencies, but they have to be willing, they have to use their voice. And that's exactly what I did on Sunday, and what I do with my coaching clients, and me making this video. Like, I don't know if anyone's gonna watch it, I don't know if anyone's gonna learn anything from it, but I know that me sharing my light and my love and saying, hey, it's possible. If there's something that you're doing that doesn't make you happy, doesn't fill your cup, you're fucking stressed, you leave and you're just aggravated and you're tired, you need to look at that and be like, do you want to do this for the rest of your life? Or you want to be curious and see if there's something else out there? Because your stress, your worry, your fear, your angst, that's not your story. It's just what you think your story is. It's a thought. It doesn't have to be your story. You can change your story. And the more people that you surround yourself with who have this joy frequency, this quotient of light within their body, because they've done their work, they're part of here to shift the frequency, surround yourself with them. And it'll be uncomfortable at first because you'll feel their light. But it's only because it's awakening for you to remember your light that you have in you. Like, you have light. We're all light. If you're a spirit, you have light. Got light, baby. So anyways, so at the end of the class, I was like, I'm gonna get weird. We're gonna play in sync. It's gonna be me. But instead of saying me, it's gonna be Joy. And I was like, you can close your eyes, dance around in the corners, whatever. Just dance. Allow your body, your inner child to come out. Bring in the joy in the body. Shake out all the fear and the crap and the guck, right? Shake it out. Shake out the thoughts. And for one quick second, I opened my eyes and I was like, and I looked around the room and I saw everyone dancing. Smiles on their face. I could see the lights coming in the room. Their aura has expanded, and like the holes in their aura, the porous areas in their aura from just time, right? Society, life, fears. I could see them filling like a net when you go fishing or whatever. Starting to fill. The holes were starting to fill, and I was like, wow, this is beautiful. And they all had smiles when they left. It was really, really, really beautiful. Some had to leave early because the class did run a little over. You know me, I'm not good with time. Time's an illusion. But the ones that did stay, they rocked out, and it was so beautiful because we were uniting, that we were all light. We're all going through something. Popo. So just know that where you are in this now moment, whatever you do with your life, whatever you're doing, you can always make a change. If something is not bringing you calm, relaxation, peace, joy, a smile, check in with that. Because I guarantee, as soon as you make that awareness and you make a shift to be like, yeah, I'm going to choose me. I'm going to choose my joy. I'm going to choose what brings me calm. The more you do that, one step at a time, the more you do that, your life totally shifts because you're stepping into your unknown curiosity. And if there's something you're afraid to do, it's probably exactly what your soul wants you to do. And never did I think, oh my God, a beautiful butterfly just flew by. Never did I think I'd be teaching a class on JoyCode at the place I learned spirituality from. But here I am. And I love my life. I truly, truly do. And Monday, after the class, I was assuming I was going to be tired because after I do something for a really, really long time, I'm sitting in bumper-to-bumper traffic, but after I do something for a really long time, as in I think about it for a really long time, and then it happens, my body kind of like if I do a fair, after the fair, if I'm banging out 15, 30 readings, I have so much energy, and then the next day I'm like, whew, or the next couple of days. So I've learned that I need to do something that brings me joy, right? Relaxation, fun for me, even though doing the workshop's fun for me. But I have to do something for me, internal me, little me's, to know like, hey, we're still safe. Like we just crossed the threshold that we didn't think we could. So like, it's time to celebrate, right? So I thought I'd be sleeping. Well, Monday I was struggling and fighting with myself. I woke up, did my gratitude, and I was just diddly-daddling around the house. And I was like, what am I supposed to be doing today if I'm not tired? Like, what do? I cleared my schedule. And so I asked myself, I was like, go to kickboxing. I was like, oh, okay. And going to kickboxing last night, I was like, it felt so good because I hadn't gone in a month. And I was like, noted. And then, so today I woke up, I did some exercises, I danced, I cleaned a little bit, and I did exactly what I told myself the night before I would do. I didn't make excuses. So I am running a little late with my time today, but I'm in when am I on time? So listen to your body every day and know that joy and happiness is so, so, so possible. And I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Have a beautiful day, morning, afternoon, wherever you are.